No,
And that's it.
thank you, Victor. It's good, very nice to meet you. Mucho
Yeah.
gusto.
Chose.
Um, Vic, what we've talked about so far is the idea that you could actually play this on little cards on a table. Like you could build out your French couple verbs, couple vocab, and start building conversation by hand on a table. That was the first thing we talked about.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Second thing we talked about is how Nikolai was saying that he's studying French, and Tim saying, "Oh, how many hours do you do a day?" And he's, "Well, I try to be consistent," which is great. And this brought to my attention, Mikola, I just jotted it down on my notes. It's an open discussion, Victor, so we can all just kind of explore what we want to explore. But it's how do you measure your learning? Like one way to do it would be count the hours, like Tim said, is to count, hey, like maybe Tim said it half jokingly, but like, it's like I did 10 hours today, but what did I do in those 10 hours? So if counting the hours may or may not be the best way to measure your progress, then a good question would be, what is a good way to measure your progress? And maybe it's ultimately not about a numerical thing, right? Like maybe it's like an art, like in painter. How do you judge your progress as a painter? Well, because of 36, because of 42, like maybe it doesn't fit into a numerical thing and it's just a quality thing. Like, hey, I'm not a great speaker, but I'm like picking up chicks, or like no, I'm like talking to my grandparents. You know what I mean? Like there could just be some quality that isn't numerical, but it's also worth exploring, like if there is a numerical way, a quantifiable way to measure your success, like what could it be? And I have a few ideas about it. Um, but we can introduce that topic into the mix, perhaps. Like, how do you measure progress in language learning?
Well, one thing that was really interesting to me is that I, for about 2 to 3 years, was heavy into SpanishDick.com and
Hmm.
several pretty Spanish, and was going in pretty heavy. Like I said, I never had much success as far as having a conversation, and
Hmm.
then I stopped about a year ago, and then I jumped back in about maybe about 4 or 5 months ago. And the thing
Hmm.
that shocked me is all of the words that I remembered. And just when I thought, because like I said, I thought I wasn't really progressing, but I left it and came back. But everything, all of the words, that thing that, like I said, that shocked me was that everything that I remembered as far as words.
Hmm.
Yeah. So as far as sometimes let's say one step forward, 2 steps back, but as long as you, that's one of the things as far as reaching plateaus. You might have to take a step back, and then all of a sudden that that memory kicks in, and then you're 2 steps forward.
Yeah, sure. It's like you planted seeds somehow, and maybe it took that time for them to sprout or something.
Right, exactly. Once you just step away from it, you know, and then jump back in, it's like, oh wow, I remember all that stuff.
Hmm. Amala mentions the idea of plateaus. Anything about particular about that, Amala? Like,
Um, well, I'm
what is
just wondering,
that?
like for you, Tony, like you sort of specialize in getting people like, really far, really quickly.
Hmm.
And I'm just kind of wondering if your experience is that most people experience plateaus or like what's causing that, or is there a way to avoid that? Like, how do you minimize the plateaus? Like, yeah, I'm just wondering if most people experience plateaus? I'm kind of going through a plateau right now. So,
That's okay. Good question. Speaking of going far quickly, um, I might have brought, if I've repeated myself to anyone, I apologize. But like, this is a thing real quick, and I know not everyone can see me, but if can y'all see my high tech technology? It's my notebook. Okay. I recently saw this thing. It seems like, just bear with me. It's some science experiment where they have a ramp. They have a ramp this way, and then there's a ball on the top, and the ball is going to roll to the bottom, right? And the question is how long. So, like, how long does that take? And then check this out. This is called the something effect. Some like German physicist discovered this, that if the ramp dips down, It's a longer distance, right? So like the shortest distance is point A to point B. So this ball that rolls straight to from point A to point B should get there first. But the fact that it goes faster sooner, that ball that goes down this way, that ball reaches it like considerably faster than the first ball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, it seems like an out there like what's the moral of the, I think you know like there's something to be said about going fast soon.
Mm,
In other words, if I can have my first French conversation, Nikolai, I don't care if
Yes.
it's a simple ass conversation like I like coffee. I always use this example. It could be anything. Like I have a yoga ball. Do you? I'm like it could be any little thing. Nikolai, do you drink coffee? Tu bois du I don't know du café? Oui, yes.
Oui, je bois du café.
Beautiful. Every day? Todos los días?
Oui, oui,
Sí,
todos los días, toujours.
todos los días, Nicolás.
Chaque jour, je bois du
Chacho.
café.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think about all these young billionaires. If you make billions at the age of 50 or 70,
Mm-hmm.
like, look how much ahead of you still have to do something great in your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Just because in your 20s it's like in maths you have like the surface under the graph, yeah.
Okay.
If the graph goes up quickly, like with your ball,
Yeah.
suddenly you have a lot of surface under the graph. You have these in physics and in mathematics. They will actually measure how much surface is under a graph. And here, like with these millionaires and billionaires, if you become rich at the age of 20 and you have a grand idea, like how to make the world better, stuff like that, how to impact something, like you have 50 years ahead of you. If you have a massive fortune at the age of 70, like you don't have that much time left to make something big.
Fair
And I
enough.
think with language is the same. You will, if it takes you 5 years to become fluent in a language, or if it takes you 6 months, it makes a big difference because you will have it for the next 4 years, yeah, with you.
For sure. For sure. So the faster you can, like the sooner you can, and for me in language learning, the main thing that comes down to, and everything you said is completely right, Nikolai, it's do not wait to have your first conversation. In chess or Go, it's that Chinese game that they say it's probably the same in the chat. They say lose your first 100 games as soon as possible. You're going to
Yeah,
lose a
makes
100
sense.
games. Like no getting around it. So like if you can lose your first 100 games in the first week, lose your first 100 games in the first week rather than being 5 years into it and go, oh, I'm now playing my 87th game.
Yeah, it's about doing as well. There was an experiment as well, where they would make pottery. They would have two groups of people and they would make pottery. And one group would be told that they would be judged by the quality.
Okay.
So they were to present the final piece that was the best
Pottery.
they could
Okay.
make.
Yeah. Yep.
Pottery, yeah, like the clay making a pot,
Yes.
making
Yep.
a cup, something. And the other group was only judged by the quantity, how many pots they
Yeah.
will make.
Right.
It didn't matter how they looked.
right.
It was about how many they will produce. And after like 30 days or something, basically those with quantity, they were better than those who were actually all month thinking about that final piece. They
In
were
terms of
better.
quality.
Yes, in terms of quality, those quantity ones were better.
Very
Just
interesting.
because they had made so many of them. And those were thinking and the others were doing.
Love that.
Yeah, it's like the reps thing. Like just get
Reps.
in the reps.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but there's also a theory about the rabbit or the hare and the tortoise, and even though the tortoise is really slow, it outpaced the hare.
Yeah, but it still has to keep going. It has to keep
well,
going.
I'm the tortoise. I'm not the hare.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that slowness of the thing is you're observing other people's weaknesses. So I observe everyone all the time, and I point out the weaknesses of certain people, and then by doing so, I know what to avoid.
I think it's one thing is just getting the reps in. I think that's the biggest thing, just getting the reps in, whether you're wrong or right. It's just having that experience of getting the reps in and speaking. I mean, that's how we learn as children. You know,
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that some people, you can't please all the people all the time, but you can please some of the people some of the time. So no matter who these people are learning something, whatever they're doing, it's not wrong. It's just their way.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
There's
And
the
I think that
What
another thing too, I think, and I gotta get going, so this is probably gonna be your last comment because I just pulled up to the driveway.
come again soon, Eric.
I will, I will. Again, I think it's just getting over the fear of speaking and saying, getting over the fear that you're gonna say something wrong and someone's gonna judge you or make fun of you or whatever. Just let that go. And that's what I even am doing myself. When I start speaking, and if I say something wrong, hey, you know what? I said something wrong. My gosh, it's not the end of the world. So,
Make
hey,
your pots.
Mm.
yep, we'll do.
Crank them out.
I was gonna say
Have
that
a
it
good
could
day,
be from,
everybody.
oh,
Thanks, Eric. All right, take
Bye,
care.
Eric.
bye.
Bye-bye.
I was gonna say the quickness thing, I feel like it sort of can take advantage of sort of like a flow state um kind of way of doing it. Cause like I think flow state is defined by that like sort of finding the sweet spot between challenge and skills.
Mhm.
But I think part of the flow is that you kind of get hooked on these sort of like micro improvements. Like you make an improvement and you do like a little experiment and you learn from it, but you're doing it really quickly. So the process kind of sucks you in.
Mhm.
So when you're doing it quickly, it's like you take advantage of the momentum and I guess it's like a dopamine thing because you get hooked on the little learning, like the little micro learning, and you get a feedback and you go, ah, that was nice. And then you do it again.
Mhm. Mhm. One of my favorite Zen quotes, which I'm like always using those, like the phrase "ready, aim, fire." The Zen version of that is "ready, fire, aim."
Well, my experience with some reenactments of military precision and process is that most of the winter people don't do very much. But when they start in the spring, they do a lot of practice.
Okay.
And the practice from the English point of view is that they all want to go on the June the 16th to the 18th for the Battle of Waterloo. So it's only that day on or those days at the weekend that they'll be doing the most strenuous activities for the whole year. So they practice before the event, they practice after the event, and they enjoy themselves. That's one of the things that's the whole involvement of it, joining and in and being the group and with people who do like-minded things. But it's in the military reenactment, it's practice, 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 safety, health and safety, practice again, and you do a teamwork practice, and then you eventually get into June, and therefore you've got another week or two before you go abroad and
Okay.
everyone fights it out in Belgium.
Okay. Is there a specific point there that has to do with our
Well,
point?
I'm just saying that you can practice all you like, and
Mhm.
sometimes it doesn't get you anywhere because you have to wait for the right moment.
Mm. All right. Uh, so this section of how do we measure, coming back to Mikolaj, the hours thing, just for fun, let me throw out like the official answer. And again, I'm not here to be like, oh, only no, no, no. But if I may give like what I like to believe just for myself as the official answer, like what's a good unit of measurement in terms of to measure your progress? It's not
Mhm.
how many it's not how many words you know. That's like a very easy thing to count. Like often your high school Spanish class or French class is essentially figuring out how many words do they know? Like because it's one of the only things you can count. So instead of thinking that measuring how many words you know is the thing, let me submit to you all that the basic unit of measurement is going to be how many questions you can answer. And that's something we can count. Like we could actually just buckle down and say, you know what, if I had to really go through this, I can answer exactly 26 questions in French. And that's the basic unit of measurement for this method is how many questions you can answer. So like a Q&A unit, like I'll sometimes refer to as that. So yeah, just putting that out there.
I like it. I like it. Thank you for that. Yeah, because it's a lot more complex than just vocabulary.
Right.
Because there's context in questions. Often questions will have like phrases that are not literal, like phrases that people use in different scenarios, or the same verbs can be used in different situations and they will mean different things.
Right.
And you will have to know these to answer the question. Yeah, I like it. Thank you. And I've never even thought about it.
That's one of the most core features of this whole LinguaBLOX, or in the called it language matrix, whatever you want. That is like one of the core principles, Mikolai. It's how many questions, because it goes both way. Pretend you knew those 2,000 French words.
Mhm.
If no one's ever going to come along and just say, okay, translate the words. If someone comes up and asks you a question that requires you to use that word, would you be able to use that word? Not necessarily. But if you've always trained on reflex, which is a key term, like a capital R, reflex. And by the way, that's versus recall. So if you're in my own notebook, I would write the word recall and then cross it out and then write reflex and circle it. Those things are like they're opposites as far as our terminology, if you want.
Mhm.
Recall versus reflex. Recall is like, oh yeah, I know the word for that. Oh yeah, I know the word for. Oh, give me the English word. I'll tell you the Polish word. Boom. Like that's recall. But at the end of the day, recall is not. It's not what it's about, but rather being able to respond in the moment, which is the number one core principle. In fact, it's the only thing that matters. There's other stuff that matters. So when I say it's the only thing that matters, there's other stuff that comes into play. But when I say it's the only thing that matters, I mean that if that thing is not in place, then nothing else matters. And let me be extremely clear with what that one thing is. That one thing that I'm referring to is being able to respond in a conversation in a language. And that
Yes.
includes.
Yeah, I
I feel
agree.
I feel like you're implying that it's sort of like a different, like it's requiring a different thing from your system, like
Mhm,
reflex versus recall.
mhm,
Um,
Definitely.
yeah. And I was just thinking about sometimes like in my language learning world, people
mhm.
will learn a word from a dictionary and then memorize that word, but they can't really use it in context. Partially because, well, first of all, they haven't had the feeling of somebody else using it, so then the connotative information is kind of missing. And then also, they haven't heard it with other words, and so then it's like not remembered in a chain with other
Right,
words.
right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's classic recall. I learned 20 new words today, kind of flashcard style.
Mhm, 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 mhm.
Totally different part of the brain. Look, I'm no doctor here, neurologist or anything that could even, but I reckon it is a different part of the brain because it definitely feels different. It feels all for me, it feels almost identical to a few things, to getting a song stuck in your head. Like you don't get a song stuck in your head by reading the lyrics. Like if I had to read the lyrics, memorize the lyrics, and say them back to you, the fact that they rhyme probably helps. But That's very different than getting the song stuck in your head.
That's what I'm here for.
What language or languages are you into, Mr. Mike? Dr. Mike, excuse me.
All right. So right now, I'm a songwriter.
Nice.
I've written some songs, and they're in English, and that's fine. Friend of mine is a Christian Spanish speaker, and he can translate my songs into Spanish, but when I hear them back, they're not as pronounced. They sound very stilted.
Yeah,
They
sure.
they seem to me just totally out of rhyme, and the meter sometimes stumbles. So what I need to do is I need to be able to think in Spanish, so I'll be able to write something that he can produce and sound good.
Yeah. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Where are you located, just out of curiosity?
I'm off of right now. I'm off of I-75, but I'm located in Central Florida. You familiar
Oh,
with the Villages?
no.
Okay, the Villages is America's friendliest hometown. It is a conglomerate of 55 plus communities,
Uh-huh.
larger than Disney World,
Ah, okay. All right. Very good.
the world's largest retirement village community, whatever you want to call it, the Villages.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good. I grew up in North Carolina, so I'm not that has anything to do with Florida, but I'm just saying. Anyway, yeah, no, that's cool. That's very interesting. Do I call you Dr. Mike?
You can call me Mike. I'm easy.
Mike? I kind of like Dr. Mike. We'll see. Anyway,
Sure, a lot of people do. They,
is that your artistic name?
Yes, sir.
All right, nice. Mike, so sometimes I just write a keyword here. The keyword that comes up there for me, you may already know this, but if you don't, it's definitely a thing to know, and if you do know it, it's a thing to maybe know more about. It's prosody. So I invite you to look into prosody. I'd be happy to talk about it too, but
Sure.
prosody is a word. It's basically the music of language. It's the rhythm more or less of language. There's a really good video on YouTube. If you look up, I don't remember, look up like prosody and screenwriting, and it breaks down how like Quentin Tarantino movies, Pulp Fiction, and so on, the writing is chock full of prosody. And they'll even show you in this video on YouTube, again, type prosody like screenwriting. They'll even put famous movie scenes on a metronome, and they'll show you how different speech patterns go on the metronome, and they break it down musically. I reckon you would like it. And then one of the big takeaways that was interesting to me from that video is it said that, so apparently, I'm not an actor, but apparently actors say that when scripts are written without prosody, like without good, like a good ear for prosody from the writer, those lines are nearly impossible to memorize, but scripts written with a good ear for prosody are very easy to memorize.
That's
Interesting.
super interesting.
Yeah. What does that mean for our spoken Spanish? And Mike, I don't know if you're only writing songs in Spanish or if you're looking to chum it up in Spanish around the block, but when it comes to that conversational muscle memory, number one core goal of this whole thing that we were just talking about, I wouldn't be surprised, Mike, if prosody is a secret hidden master key for your Spanish, because we've already covered you don't need 2,000 words. In fact, I don't even want 2,000 words right now. Nikolai, I want to be able to answer 20 questions. If I can't answer those first 20 questions, I got to drop everything and be able to answer those 20 questions. So my point is, it's not about more is better. But Mike, I'm wondering if your personal Spanish game, your back and forth conversation, I wonder if it isn't the difference between like, my name is Mike, me llamo Mike, having to kind of dig into that recall. Am I saying it right? What's the I wonder if me llamo Mike is da 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 da, ah, ba da 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 da. da 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 da.
My problem is the older I get, the slower I have to hear it because these guys talk super fast.
Okay.
I don't know, but I would agree with Tony here. It may be to the rhythm of the language and the tune of the language. If you know, because if you speak, do you speak Spanish?
Me?
No, Mike.
Dr. Mike.
No, un poco y muy mal.
Oh, so yeah, so it will be difficult for you to translate in your head. There is, do you know Encanto, the Disney movie Encanto?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so
My granddaughter's all over that.
So the main song for that is Dos Oruguitas. Tan 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 tan. Dos Oruguitas.
Nice,
The
Miguel.
guy who wrote the song, it was a challenge from him because I think Disney requested him to write it in Spanish. They wanted it to have a Spanish feel. I think it was his first song that he had to write in Spanish. He had some probably Mexican, or maybe Colombian. He had some southern roots, but he didn't speak Spanish, so he had to come up with it. So he got some help, and the whole song was written. So this is your case pretty much. You speak English, you have some knowledge of Spanish. So if you read a bit about how he did it, maybe that will help. Because he had the same situation you have here, that he wanted the song to be like it's an English speaking world, and he got a task to write a Spanish song. There is an English version, but I think they did it later. Like later they translated it back into English, which is interesting in itself. But you can have a look in that. And there is also between Spanish and English, there's a book, it's called The 100 Years of Solitude, I think. And that was written in Spanish and it was translated into English. And the author said that actually the English version he liked more, the author himself.
Interesting.
So there's another story, like, because this is your languages, both of them. So you can, or you can research the topic because you have something to grab, and maybe you will find answers to your questions, like why things do not work. I mean, the book itself is super, super boring. It's the most boring book I've ever listened to, because I listen to books, but it's a known book, and you can at least get into the story, like how these work.
Thank you very much.
One quick, just extra point on the whole prosody thing, Mike. Setting aside actual music, like literal music, which is its own thing too. Like listening to music in Spanish is a good thing, but completely setting that aside, Mike, just as a crazy idea, could you imagine trying this? Say you pulled up some video where people are speaking Spanish. It has nothing to do with music. Like pull up some TV show, some movie, some podcast, some video. They're speaking Spanish. You don't need to understand it. You don't need to do anything. Just see if you can let that video play for 2 seconds and then hum what you heard.
That's interesting, because
That's
I've been trying to do Sesame Street in Espanol, and they're still too fast for me.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I know. Set that aside.
I think
Tony's point is not about understanding what they're saying. It's about just how it sounds.
Right. Yeah.
Just the rhythm.
I'll give that a look-see.
I think the basic principle overarching the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes of conversation is chunking everything down to a point where you've extended the Pareto experience 20/80 rule with only maybe two sounds, like syllables of the music. and then you have to worry about speed.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Tim. Anything else there?
No, I've just done chunking. You chunk it down till you
All right.
actually find it. You know, like you can digest the language, or you can digest the sound, or you can read what you're reading. It's you chunk it down to something that is at your own natural speed, then that's a perfect spot to start with, and then you can get faster.
Okay. 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 Very good. All right. So wrapping up the prosody, but Mike, maybe we could imitate. We won't. We're not that friendly yet, but maybe we could do a little like where we imitate each other's prosody. You know what I mean? Like if you listen to Mikola or me, or Dr. Mike or Tim or Amala speak for a few seconds, you could go back and go, you know, this person has this. Anyway, so that's the prosody talk, Mike. Any comments or questions here on anything? Question about flow, Amala. This is going to be good.
I don't know if it's I'm struggling a little bit to put it into like a coherent question, but so in the language I'm trying to learn is Anishinaabe, and there's not a lot of exposure to first language speakers. And I've tried to I keep trying in some way to kind of replicate what I see what I've seen Tony do. So like I'll, you know, so I can't seem to do it in a group because people just won't go along. So I have this new person and I was like, okay, I said I really want to practice conversation. I sent her a whole list of questions. Um and so when we got on the practice, I was like, okay, let's just practice asking each other questions. But I found it like was really stilted. And like I would ask her a question and she would give me like a short answer. And I'd be like, okay. And then she just wouldn't say anything. Then I'd ask her another question. And you know what I mean? Like I can't seem to get, I'm kind of wondering like how can I, yeah, like how can I just you know, sometimes I would try to ask her a further question or be like, oh, really? And, you know, try whatever. But it was just like really hard to get what felt like conversational flow.
Yeah.
And she's, you know, she's at a similar level to me. So she actually knows quite a bit relative to a lot of learners that I know. Like she understands what I'm saying, but we also had like the questions written out, you know, so I don't know. Just wondering if you have any tips.
Nice. When when we come around to that one thing, certain words are somewhat interchangeable, like muscle memory, reflex, flow state, even like
Mhm.
um I think if we had to pare it away to like the center of the center of the center of the thing, start with the muscle memory. Like so start with that for a second. Setting aside how flowy it is.
Mhm.
Like you can build muscle memory without being particularly flowy. Like
Mhm.
I'm learning to dance that new dance step or something, you know what I mean? Like it is not looking, it's not pretty, but I am hitting the steps. So
Shapes.
two to the left, two to the right. That's feels so awkward. But the next day it feels a little less awkward. Same with a golf swing. I don't know. Same with any that feeling of muscle memory when it starts to click on a body level, pure physical body level. That doesn't mean that I'm flowing. Like I should hope to that I'll that'll will eventually become that. Awkward, and actually this reminds me, this goes to Tim's thing right here. If I can slow it down and get it right and then speed it back up. A guy I work with in Spanish, he told me this is like one of those excellent, I gotta like Mikolai's pottery thing. I gotta use that. He gave me one of those. I gotta use that. He said that his piano teacher said, "Why are you rushing through this song and making all of these mistakes? Slow Bach is still Bach.
Mhm. Mhm.
It is not pretty. It is not. No, no, no. I'm not looking at you going, damn, like, look at that prodigy. No, But like Tim said, if you can do it slow and do it good, then you're building the muscle memory. Let the flow come later.
Yeah, and do you think
Flow Nishna Bemwin is still Nishna Bemwin, you know.
we hope it is. Would it be a good idea to just do the same questions like over and over?
You know
No.
how you said yourself that the flow thing is like the relationship between challenge
Skills and
and
skills.
skill?
Yeah.
So if you're really good at, and I know you know this, but just to say this, so we're all on the same page. If you're super high skill and low challenge, you're bored. This is the original flow from the guy.
Hmm.
High challenge and you're low skill, you're frustrated. But high challenge, high skill is flow. It's like this is the championship, but I'm the best basketball player in the world, a la Michael Jordan. So I'm in that flow state because this is the toughest game of my life, but I'm have what it takes to do it, and so I hit the flow state. You don't have to have a super high challenge nor super high skill level to find the that intersection. Like you know my skill level in Anishinaabe because we've had a handful of sessions where we played with it, and you know it obviously quite. I don't know how well, like I think very well, like you know. But anyway,
True.
you obviously you know, but you know my level. So if you want to challenge me, obviously you can't give me too high of a challenge because my skill level's not there. But you could find the thing that's like right at the intersection of my skill level, and then you'd create a flow state in me.
Right. So it's kind of like if I'm the slightly better speaker, I'm trying to induce flow state by going right to meet the person where they are. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was that answer was supposed to be to your question of should I just answer the exact same question? Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that's the skill level of the person. Like I just okay, I'm gonna ask you again. Do you drink coffee, Nikolai? And I have to say, yeah,
Je bois du
je
café.
bois du café. Okay, that was pretty tough. Take it again. All right, hey, tu bois du café? Tu bois du café? And I go, oui, je bois du café. It's the exact same question, Amala. Maybe that's my flow level. Like that's my skill level. That's the level of challenge that meets my skill level at the place where those should intersect to create flow. Yeah. But maybe it's one notch more challenging, which was okay, good. I drink coffee. That's what you said. Okay, what about tea? Do you drink tea? And I'll go, yeah, I drink tea. Okay. Do you drink wine? A little. Ah, look at that. So like there's ways to toggle the challenge level, the difficulty level, you know, without going completely off the, oh, well, you know, the other day I was having coffee with my aunt and she was telling you like, whoa, hold on. That's now I'm frustrated because that's clearly outside of my, so it could be the exact same question. Maybe that's too hard. You need an even simpler question. It could be that. Or if you find that you can do that single question, well, then you can start playing with some various. Oh, you drink coffee, you drink tea. Oh, you've traveled to France. Have you ever traveled to Italy? You know what I mean? When's the last time you traveled to Italy? Oh, I can do it. Maybe I can't. If I can't, bring it back. But if I can, then you can't.
Yeah, I
Can
think
you
I'm gonna
can you
get something. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah can you actually tell the exact situation how it was that you asked a question and then the other person would only answer very short? It seems like she or he may have had no words, like not enough vocabulary, for example,
Mhm.
or maybe because then often there is a follow-up question. When you have a standard conversation, you can have a follow-up question, but some people do not go there, even if they even if they speak your own language and they are fluent, obviously. Like sometimes it's just hard to get somebody to talk.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
mhm.
Yes. I think it was a combination of both. I think she was unused to getting the questions, so so there was that part, but I think also she's kind of somebody who's a little bit not so interactive as a person. You know what I mean?
Yes, so I think if you figure out what's important to her, like what is a subject that is important to her and also easy to talk about, because some people just refrain from talking about certain things. I mean, it could be because it's sexual, it could be because it's religious, because it has to do with economics. Like different people have different inhibitions, but then it would also affect it. So if there's something she lights up when you mention something, she goes like brighter. She like you can see by her face that this is her thing, or you can just ask directly. Then maybe it would just ease the conversation. So it would not be related to language at all in this case, but it could be there, like it could be behind.
Her interest and so on. Totally a thing. In fact, along with that, Amal, I would getting a person to open up about the things they like is totally a thing, but it draws into quite like into the discussion something that is actually that's like worth saying at the so basically there's a huge difference for language learning purposes like this thing. There's a huge difference between friendly, real conversation and language learning conversation. Like you and I are native Spanish, English speakers. Mikolai is either native speaker or close to native English speaker. So I wouldn't say to Mikolai, I wouldn't say Mikolai, you're an advanced, maybe native English speaker. I wouldn't say to you, what's your favorite color? Blue? I like blue too. The sky is blue. I see, no, the sky is blue now. I like blue. Do you like blue? And you're the
Yeah, but
native
you can
speaker.
pick it
Yeah,
up.
I like
I
blue.
think
I
you
don't know. What are you two? You know, it's like, yo, I'm practicing. I could, if I could have that conversation in Anishinaabe, wouldn't you, if I could, my favorite color is blue. I like blue. The sky is, wouldn't you say, wow, that's some good Anishinaabe? So there's definitely a difference between like adult like normal conversation and language learning conversation. So if this person isn't into opening up as like an adult who's down to talk about more things not like favorite colors, if they're not a person that's doesn't even want to talk at all, like they're just not into talking, then you got to at least be able to be like, can you humor me? Can we talk favorite colors? And if they don't get that at all, then they are just not a good language partner for you. I've had the same thing in my life. I had two brothers they were brothers in Italy. One got it, the other didn't. One of them all day long he got that I was exploring. So I can say, so my parents are genitori, da, da, da. He's down to humor me. I go up to the other guy, his brother, who was not like this, and I was like, hey, Pasquale, true story all around. Names have not been changed. I go to Pasquale and I say to him in Italian, is it correct to say I would like volerebbe or is it volerebbe? And he like takes his cigarette out of his mouth and in English he's like, you want what? This is why it's impossible to talk to you. You want what? And I was like, nothing. I was just trying to know if I was getting the verb right. You know, like not down to humor you. He's only down to have adult conversation. Hey, I can't do adult conversation in Italian. Well, he speaks English better than me. We're speaking English. The brothers like, yeah, no, yeah. Favorite color is blue. Ah, good, good, good. You see what I'm saying? So let's create the distinction first of all between like respectable conversation and like language conversation first. And if the person's not down with language conversation or doesn't understand language learning conversation, then they're just not the right part. They're the brother.
If I may,
Yeah, it's the
there
bridging. It's the bridging of your level. So I feel like what's happening in my community is people don't have the level to have regular conversation. So they, but that's what they're trying
Avoid
for.
it altogether.
Yeah. Got it.
You personally have to be down to explore your flow intersection without feeling, oh, this is stupid. Why the hell am I talking about?
there's a mnemonic
Yep.
that's used in sales. And it's remembered by warm with form. You can have any warm conversation if you follow the form, and that is family, occupation, recreation, and then money. And again, it's a sales technique. You start talking about the family, and everybody's going to open up. Yeah. You get finished with the family, move on to the job, move on to the recreation from there. Did you go to the beach this weekend? I understand you have a boat. Where are you going with your boat? What do you do? Do you fish? Do you water ski? And then you can move on to making your money deal.
That's cool. That's cool. That's good to know. I might have to use that. Cool. Nice. But yeah, so I guess the recap there is just being okay to like lower this challenge level so much that it would be silly, but that's my skill level and that's where I find my flow. That's the end. And any final thoughts or biggest takeaways? Other than that, it's going to be, until next time.
Yeah, I like that process. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah,
I knew, like, I thought about these things. I just never had a name. I never knew it was described already. But I thought about it. I thought,
What things had you thought
like
about?
that people speak in different ways. That you could play on piano. Like my version would be, if you have a piano, you could actually often play how people say the same thing, and they will, and you will use different tones.
Gotcha. The prosody part, putting that in there. Nice. All right. Excellent. So yeah, I think that is big. Great.
Thank you.
Final, my pleasure. Thank you. Final thoughts, Mike, Tim, Amala,
Yeah,
Victor.
no, it's been great. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks. I just always kind of want to get exposed to the way you think about stuff, partially so that the feeling that language is learning is easy can like rub off on me more so.
Nice. Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good. All right. Well, we'll have to do this again sometime. And any comments or questions you have, my school DMs, I check them all. Like you can feel free to reach out with any comments or questions. And if you need any help with anything, let me know. So